to another quick unboxing. Today it's going to be the new Apple Watch Series 6. Just showed up in the mail today. Just want to take it straight out, and then there will be a follow-up video a couple weeks or months from now, just sort of with my general thoughts after using it for a while. This is just sort of a first impression and unboxing. I went with the Nike version, so let's get the watch out first. There are a lot of wristbands available, but I mean, honestly, for just the money's sake, the value, because there's so many options online since they've all used the same connector. As long as it has the proper size, I've got the 44mm version. I just got the cheapest one, sport band, for when I'm at the gym or whatever. And I bought metal bands and other more designer ones separately. I also went with the aluminum case due to the extremely high cost of the titanium version. And then the Wi-Fi edition instead of the GPS one, Wi-Fi instead of the cellular one, because I really do not have the extra cash for another cellular plan, because it is not cheap. All right, let's take the watch out first. And there is no charging brick included. It's just they just give you the cable, which I'm assuming that means there will be no charger included in the next iPhone. That's probably just their way of sort of leaning you into it. And it's the same design as we've had in the past. It's just some battery life upgrades, screen upgrades, just a couple of general cost items associated with this. Okay, so that's the watch unbox and the charger unbox and the instructions. I don't know why there's such a long instructions sheet for the Nike band, but here it is. They give you a longer one if you have a very large wrist, a shorter one, and the other side. So I'm going to go with the shorter ones. I don't have a lot hanging off the other end. So it sort of just slides in. You hear a click, and that way you know it's clipped in. They're reversible, so it does not matter which side you put them on. It's all up to personal preference. All right, let's get it turned on. Hopefully it'll have a good amount of charge in it. So some of the big updates from this one from the last time are the blood monitor, which I heard mixed things about it. It sort of is accurate, but it sort of isn't, and it's not that useful of information for most people. For some it is, but more importantly for what I would use it for is it has a longer always-on display, longer battery life, and faster charging, which is sort of the reason I got this one over the SE. So then let's go to the watch app to set this up. And it's now angry at me because I don't have Wi-Fi on. Or I do have Wi-Fi on, I just have it hooked up to my GoPro right now for controlling that. And of course it says you have to use Wi-Fi, not LTE. Fantastic. So let's switch that over. And then it prompts you to hold it up over this sort of globe data thing. And I need to update the phone, which is really annoying, because I already have auto updates on. All right, let's try with my work phone. And that also needs to be updated. All right. About an hour later, after I've finally updated, we've got it set up. So you just hit it next, and it'll start going through and asking you a lot of questions. I'm not going to run through all this because a lot of it's just personal information and asking my preferences. It's very simple once you have everything updated. In the meantime, the watch just sort of shows you have the 44mm in aluminum because you weren't rich enough to buy the titanium version. There are two sizes, and I went with the larger of the two sizes. It's not by much, but it does make a difference. I would say go with the larger one if you have a large wrist, or a male, and the smaller one if you have a smaller wrist, or are a female who just, because the size isn't a huge difference. And as you can see, it fits very well on my wrist. And the band does look very good with the aluminum one. Just having a metal band, you could also get it in gold, red. I don't know why you'd want to get red. A darker color. It is extremely slow trying to sync up everything, and has been a real pain. There is no fast way to do this. And still syncing. Let's just pause this and come back once it's finally finished. And we're finally there. So now it's going to ask you a couple questions about what apps you want to put on there. If you have ones on your phones that have a Apple Watch version, it'll bring those over. In the meantime, it'll give you a sort of a quick instruction on how to use the watch. It is pretty intuitive for most of the gestures and whatnot, so it's not too difficult to get used to. Obviously, if you have an Apple Watch in the past, this is going to be just fine. I'm going to try not to share that many of my thoughts on this until I've had it, used it for a little while, because I've never had an Apple Watch. Alright, so that's the face I chose, and this is sort of the menu layout. It's the same little bubbles they've had for a good amount of time now. Some things that I really want to talk about real quick is the hardware is fantastic. I love it. Apple did a great job with the hardware. Design's good. It feels sleek. The battery life's fantastic. But the software side, it kind of falls flat for me with like my struggles with the setup process were being annoying. A lot of the apps just do not work well. For some reason, if I hook mine up to my headphones and try to play music from the watch to the headphones, it just straight up will not let me. It needs the phone to be there, which is kind of defeats the purpose of having the watch. Sometimes I may want to leave the phone at home, go for a walk, do something else without the phone, just have the watch to control everything, and it will not do it that way. Or I'm just doing it wrong, which is entirely possible, but it should be more user intuitive. It's an Apple device. It shouldn't be difficult to use at all. And so thanks for watching, and then come back in a couple of weeks or months for the follow-up on my overall thoughts and impressions.